let's see, yeah. I got out of grad school in Berkeley in '69, and had just given birth to Kimberly, first child, and then we put me through college, and so my turn. I'm out of college. Got to find a job and take care of a family. And the short of it is, looking for a job, I knew I was not going to do a 9 to 5. It's not going to work. Just a regular with a tie on, not going to work. So I'm going to have to find another way here to pay the bills in a capitalist society, feed a family. So what do I know about? What's something I really know about is true from my own experience. I know about psychedelics. And what, this was maybe 1969, what's in the media now is all these scare stories about psychedelics, trying to scare young kids to not do it, but scare stories, and I knew those stories weren't true. So I said, well, I'm gonna try to see if I can get a job in a drug program and speak to what's true. Not give young people lies based on fear. Give them accurate information about the pros and cons. Don't try to sell them. You're not trying to sell them on psychedelics. Just give them honest information about what's possible with a responsible relationship to these powerful substances. The difficulties that could happen, and what are the positive benefits that could come. Give them the information so they can make up their own mind. Trust their dignity and intelligence. So look for started nosing around, and Great Spirit led me to at the time, a very famous criminologist who was seeking to start a drug program in Marin County, 1969-70. We met, we had a good connection, so we were going to be the nucleus for starting this drug program. We hired a couple of other people, brought them in. This was 1970s, heroin, speed, young people coming back from Vietnam for the horrors of war, got strung out on heroin to try to deal with the horrors of war that they were experiencing. Cheap heroin in Vietnam, come back to the States, you got a habit, you have to support your habits so you don't go through withdrawal. What are you going to do? You're going to steal, you're going to rob, you get into trouble with the law. So this drug program that we started was trying to address that heroin epidemic that was taking places in middle-class communities at the time. I had good people, had really good programs, but it wasn't delivering the results that I wanted. So, and I was treatment director. My friend, the criminologist, he was the executive there. I was the treatment director responsible for the treatment. Good people doing good programs, but it wasn't really cutting it. So I was frustrated, and I felt like I was getting paid for something I wasn't delivering. Nobody else was saying that, but that's what I felt. Around about that time, I knew about a program called Outward Bound. I read about it. Mountain climbing and rock climbing and wilderness survival. And I was really excited about that, because I always had an adventurous spirit. But I never had the money to be able to go on it. So I found out that, I think it was 1970, Outward Bound was just opening a program in California, in Northern California. So I wanted to connect with those people who were starting the program. And they invited me, said, hey, we're going to have 40 Outward Bound teachers from around the country come to Yosemite Valley, one of the top places for rock climbing, mountain climbing in the world. They all know how to climb, but we're going to take them through the Yosemite Mountaineering School so they learn that approach to teaching others. Why don't you come along and be a consultant to us on working with young people and drugs? Great, man. I guess it's going out with Bound course I don't have to pay. The unsettling dynamic was that I had to face one of my worst fears of height. Because we're going to do 7 days of rock climbing in the Yosemite Valley, climbing up the cliffs. Then we're going to go 3 days of whitewater riffing on the Tuolumne River. I'd never done any of that. Okay, I show up, I'm scared shitless, but I show up. We learn the first day, these Yosemite Mountaineer people, school people, they teach us how to use the ropes, the knots, the safety system called the belay systems, the repulsive. They show us how all the stuff on the ground, and we practice it to get the technique down. There's two other people who were there beside myself. A therapist from Carl Jung's, not Carl Jung, Carl Rogers, yeah, thank you. And then one other person. We were the three ringers that had no experience with the climbing. Everybody else was really good climbers. So, okay, we practiced the first day. We practiced all this stuff on the ground. The next day, meet here, crack of dawn. We're going to start going up the cliffs. So I'm praying for rain. I'm praying I sprain my ankle. I'm going to break my leg on the way there. Something to get me out of this. I'm having a freak out. And I look, you stand at the base of the cliff in Yosemite, and we're going to climb that. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, there's no way. I mean, these guys know what they're doing. They can do it. They're great, but not me. A tremendous fear of heights. And I think it goes back to in part to my father's death. I remember shortly after one of my dad died, one of my aunts took me to the Empire State Building. And in those days, you could go up to the very top, and there wasn't any protective barriers. And so there's a wall, at the very top, maybe that high. And so you can walk over the wall and look over, into the abyss. And so my auntie goes over and looks over, and I think some of my older cousins there. I'm 3 feet back. Ain't no way I'm not. As soon as I touch that wall, it's going to collapse, and I'm going to fall over. So my fear of heights started at a really young age. So there we are at the base of the cliff. Tie in with the ropes. First climber goes up. I'm with an outward-bound instructor, and I'm going to climb second on the rope. And I'm having a nervous breakdown. And at the end of the day, I'm standing on top of the cliff. And nobody pulled me up there. So standing on the top of that cliff was another one of those fuse boxes being blown open. When I started this day, I looked at that mountain and I said, it's impossible for me to do this. Out of the question. Not gonna happen. It's just impossible. I'll try, but it's not gonna happen. And now I'm on top of this mountain. And so it was like this huge bust of tomás, like a doorway open. How many things in your life have you not tried because you gave your power to your fear and the belief that it wasn't possible? And I look back on my life, and there was most of my life not really showing up and going for it because I was too frightened of failing. It was impossible, but I couldn't do it. And so I gave the power to the fear that shut me down, and I was living in a constricted way. And so sitting on top of that mountain, looking down, realizing, you don't know what's possible, man. You do not know what's possible unless you show up and you give it your best shot. And if you put your energy into the belief that it's not possible, whatever the situation is, that's your reality. You're right. You're putting your energy into that thought and believing that it's true. It's not possible. But if you catch that and you throw it away, like catching the judgment, that Christ's vision, let go of the judgment, the negative thought of limitation, the spike falls out. It's an open ball game. It's an open ball game.
And Tomás,
yeah,
I'm going to have to go past my fear of disapproval and let you know that we're running late.
Shit, I'm just getting started. For real.
I had a hunch you would say that.
So let's check this out. I can shorten things up, but do we have let's go right to it.
Okay,
There's a
you're
certain
riffing.
time you have to be out of here or else it causes problems for you and for
Well,
Shakespeare people.
I can close up, I can do the closing up, but I think Leslie was thinking maybe people would go out into the lobby and talk and have some drinks, so I'm up here. I don't know what's going out in the lobby.
There's no time limit.
Okay. Was that Leslie?
Could you guys hang a little bit longer? Yeah. All right, I'll try it a little bit. Okay, thanks. Not too much. All right,
Praise be.
Let me take a moment and see if I can condense this. It just might mean I might have to come back here again.
Yes.
So let me just listen. Let me just listen. The short of how I came to the Vision Quest, let me just finish that, was I never heard the term Vision Quest. From Outward Bound, I knew about part of their program was going out in the wilderness and spending a time of solitude, solo time, fasting. So I asked my wilderness staff that I'd started a wilderness program to try to address the dynamics of what I saw in the people who were strung out on heroin. That they didn't have belief in themselves, they were dependent on a drug to be able to face challenges and anxieties, they had thought forms of negativity of limitation. So rock climbing really addresses all of that, goes right into it. I asked the staff to put together a 6-day program that includes a period of solitude. I'm going to go through it first, be on the receiving end of it before we, thanks for coming, safe drive home. And so I went out and had my first experience, 24 hours of fasting in the High Sierra, 10,000 feet, that blew out the fuse box. I came back home and found out that experience that had been so instrumental in opening me up was called the Vision Quest. And I learned about it through a book called Reindeer, the Lakota older man, whose son eventually I met years later and worked with. So I needed to learn about Vision Quest from an indigenous person. Met one at College in Red, and he brought me in to and coached me on the Vision Quest experience. But that started 52 years ago. Been doing them ever since, and it was 2 years. Which brought me, in turn, into working with people that were dying. How did that happen? I'm getting to the end of I was involved in a doctoral program with Saybrook University, Progressive Innovative Program. And the medical director of the drug program was on my doctoral committee. So as we're getting to the end of my doctoral work, I asked him, I said, Bill, the psychiatrist, I said, Bill, what kind of people do you think I'd be good working with? And it was like he surprise punched me, sucker punch, said, people who are dying. Not my life plan. I said, what are you talking about, man? Why do you say that? He said, you've been taking people out on Vision Quest. People who are dying are on a Vision Quest. Seeking, they don't think of it in that term. They're seeking deeper connection and understanding and meaning with whatever they have left time of their life. That's what they're seeking. So he had been involved for a year or so working with a small group of people to start a hospice, the first at-home hospice in the United States. He asked me to join him in that group. So I did. And that led me to, a few years later, down the road, literally down the road a piece, from San Rafael to Sausalito, Jerry Jampolsky, who was just starting the Center for Attitudinal Healing. First principle of attitudinal healing, love is the essence of our being. So when I heard that, that's exactly what I got through all these experiences with Christ, with Virgin Guadalupe, with the Tutus of Wirikuta. It's all about the love that lives inside of us. Oh, yeah. Good for you taking care of yourself. Right. So I began to work with children with life-threatening illness, which is never my career choice or path to begin with. And when Jerry invited me to join the children's group, it freaked me out. I love kids, I love messing around with kids, but to go in and work with kids who were dying, who've got life-threatening illness, this totally freaked me out. Jerry, I don't know what to do. He said, just love them. All I have to do is just love them. I said, yeah, that sounds pretty, that sounds nice. But come on, man, what do I say? What do I do? I'm an adult, I'm supposed to be helping them. I don't know what the hell to do, what to say. Just love them. So I'm going to just fast forward to many tests of my belief in love and what it could lead to. But here's like to sum it all up. So this one 14-year-old girl who's had been in the center group for a while, and I knew her and her families, and done some hypnosis work on pain control with her, and she was riddled with cancer. And I get a call from her parents one day. They're in the hospital at UC, and she's freaking out. And can I come and help? 2 years before that, her brother had been in the same hospital and died from cancer. So she had a pretty heavy load on there. I'm walking down the hall to see her. We're going to end with a ceremony, an empowerment ceremony here, so this is just working toward that point. I'm walking down the hall to see her, and I hear these shrieks coming. And it's pretty freaky to hear these shrieks. And as I get closer to the room where I know she's in, I realize the shrieks are coming from the room I'm supposed to go in. I open the door, and she's lying on the gurney, on the bed, screaming. Her parents are plastered against the wall, the doctors, the nurses, everybody's like ashen white, and she's screaming, and they're trying to do everything, nothing's happening. And the power of what was happening in the room was so great, I wanted to run. I just wanted to get me out of here. Because I've been called in, I'm feeling this internal pressure, I've been called in to help. I don't know what the fuck to do in this kind of situation. I'm freaked out, I don't even want to be here. What am I doing here? Breathe. Breathe. Just breathe. Ground yourself. It's like a big wave trying to knock you off a rock. Don't even go in the room, just ground yourself. And I sent out a prayer, said, I need help. I have no idea what to do here. Please help me, Great Spirit. I have no idea what to do here. And the voice says, just breathe and ground yourself. So I start doing that I can do. Nobody's acknowledged me. I haven't said anything, I'm just standing in the doorway. Girl screaming. And then the voice says, start sending your love. Open your heart, those tutus, the energy we've showed you about that's in your heart. Just start sending it into her heart. Don't send it to her to get her to stop doing what she's doing. Because then it's conditional. Just send it to her. She's not the cancer. She's not the riddled body that she's dying. She's not any of those things. Underneath all of that, she's fine. There's a brilliant, beautiful light. Start sending healing light and love into that place inside of her. Okay, that I can do. So I start doing that. I just start breathing into my heart, opening it, sending those beams of healing light and love out to her. And I have this amazing experience that takes place. Mind-blowing experience. And if you told me that could have happened beforehand, I would have said you were nuts. What happened? I started feeling peaceful. Totally peaceful. No anxiety, no fear, no wanting to run. I'm feeling totally peaceful. I can't believe it. I can't believe it's possible for me to experience peace in this kind of a situation that before I was so freaked out in. And then I was able to walk into the room and talk to her, touch her, and take her through some things to help her connect with that peace, and she calmed down, and she was okay. So that was like a test. Does this love stuff really work? And that test and many others like that showed me it really does work. So that brings us to the importance of looking at what are the practices that you have, if any, to help bring that love that you are, and the peace that lives at the center of your being and all of our being never leaves. If we're not feeling it because it's something I'm running in my mind that's taking me out of that peace. It's closed my awareness to the presence of love, and that's my work, and I can do something about that. So to psychedelicize, what does it mean to psychedelicize our lives, which is really the term I'm using, of looking at the practices that you need to do if you want to experience, open your awareness to more of the presence of love and the inner peace, and access to wisdom guidance about how to create responses that freak you out, that can open a doorway to bring through fullest blossoming greatest good. So one of the things you can do that's helpful to me is like the magic act of light the candle. Connect with light. Connect with the sun. Connect with the light. Polish up your stardust. Do grounding work. Take your shoes off. Stand in the earth. The free electrons in the earth come into our bodies, and they shape shift the free radicals that cause inflammation and cause pain, so much illness. They balance out the bioelectric energy inside of us. Take it in. And get clear about your intentions. What's the most important thing about living my life today? What's the most important thing for you about living life today? No guarantee about tomorrow, so you give it today. What's the most important thing to you about living your life? That's your intentions, the qualities of consciousness and being that you want to have grow stronger in your life. What are those? What are practices that can feed that and psychedelicize your consciousness? To open yourself up, remember who you are, what you are, why you're here. Sacred, worthy, numerous beings of love that is forgiving. And another aspect of psychedelicizing is the importance of our egocentric culture that focus on the individual. It's all about me, but in indigenous cultures it's about what can I do to serve the people? What can I do? What can we do to give back, to serve people, serve Mother Earth, serve the ancestors? That's a question that sits before us every day. My older daughter, 2 years ago on Vision Quest, and Kimberly, she was out there and she came back from her time alone. She said she heard a voice. And the voice said to her, I have all the answers you need. I have all the answers you need. You just need to listen to me more. You just need to listen to me more. So we're all called to that kind of listening. Share a brief example of what came from my listening. Because part of the responsibility in serving community, serving Earth, serve the next generation. Serve the next generation. Support the next generation. So I began to reflect on what can I give my 3 grandsons that might be helpful to them after I'm gone and facing the challenges they're going to face. So I listened. I opened, used the shamanic practices, I opened and listened, and 4 things came, like 4 legs of the chair. The first was practice wisdom. Practice wisdom. I did a little ceremony and I shared these all with them. So you're gonna help each other remember this as you go through your years. Practice wisdom. Live from the love you are. Show up and do your part to help heal the sacred hoop and have fun and enjoy your life. So I just share that as a stimulus for you in your own listening to that which has all the answers you need for the rituals that might be cut to what eat. Whatever it is for you. Just need to listen more. And part of that listening is also, you're getting closer, Roger, keep breathing. Giving back to the indigenous people that I and maybe you have been fortunate to learn from in one way or another. Because if we just take, it is appropriation. But if we give back, if we take the time to learn, what are the pressures, the challenges, the difficulties they're experiencing? So I can perhaps do something to support, to help them meet those challenges. That's right relationship. That's important to diffuse appropriation when just taking and not giving. There's 2 papers outside on the desk out there with information about support you can give to Huicho and the extended Huicho family of Guadalupe, and then also to an Amazonian tribe. So I invite you to take a look at those, and those are vehicles of opportunity to give some back for what you've been given, if anything. Okay, so I think it's time for us to do this closing ceremony and kind of putting into action some of what I've been talking about. So we're going to start with, we're going to go inside. This is based on the idea of what's possible when human beings cooperate with each other, transcending lines of religion and color and your clothing and your economic status and what you do with your gonads and everything. What's possible? Everybody drove here tonight, got in your car, and the reason you were able to drive here safely because everybody agrees on certain rules to cooperate so we can accomplish something we couldn't do by ourselves, we couldn't accomplish by ourselves. Driving safely. Get in a plane. 99% of the time you're going to be able to ride safely. Why? Because people are cooperating, no matter what their color is. Religion, you're a Trumper, you're a radical, you're a socialist, you're a communist, you're this, you're that. Everybody cooperates, agrees to cooperate. So an example, those are examples of what can happen when we bring our hearts, minds, and spirits into a focus of cooperation, bring it to your fullest velocity, greatest good. I'd like to invite you to go inside. Drop down inside, let your eyelids drop down over your eyes, bring your awareness inside, and look at, reflect on what's the kind of world you would like to be living in. What would you like to see? What's your highest dream for what this world could be? Use the power of your mind. Imagine, create an image of what that world would be like. Peaceful and just, and healthy and harmonious, and happy, and beautifully diverse, win-win world for all. What would that look like? In your creative imagination, what would that be like? So I invite you to just form that image in your mind, see what it would be like, how you'd feel living in it. And that image, that vision, you see it encased in a bubble. You're creating it on an inner dimension of reality. It's real within the inner dimension of reality. Enclosed in that bubble. Just take a moment to really maybe put one of your fingers there, right in your third eye, to kind of push energy into that bubble, strengthen it, empower it, that image for what the world would look like, that you'd like to be living in. And now we're going to open our eyes and stand up, and we're going to do something to empower that vision. So I'm going to invite everybody to stand up, get grounded, and we're going to use the singing of a song to do this, to dissolve the boundaries of that bubble, and let the energy of that image flow out into the field, the larger field in which we're all connected, for the healing of the sacred hoop. So the way we're going to do that, we're going to sing 2 different parts of this song. So you guys over here and this side, going to sing one part, You guys over here are going to sing another part. This is a takeoff on that song when John Lennon was shot. And people, we gathered around with candles, we were singing, "Give Peace a Chance," all we were saying. So this side, we're going to sing, "All we are saying," and then you give love a chance. All we are saying is give love a chance. All we are saying is give love a chance. All we are saying is give love a chance. Now reverse it. All we are saying is give love a chance. Resolve in the boundaries of the butt. All we are saying is give love a chance. Now everybody, all together. All we are saying is give love a chance. All we are saying is give love a chance. All we are saying is give love a chance. Now the quiz. The way to put that into action so it's not empty words is to wake up, wise up, and what? Live life now. I can't hear you. Live life now. That's it. Safe drive home. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for being. And listen to see what was brought up in you of medicine to integrate into your life, but to enrich your life.
And I also want to give a big shout out and gratitude to Leslie Courier and all the folks at Marin Shakespeare for giving us this space in which to work in.
And Roger Blaze, co-creator. Roger!